second graders, it's Mrs. Clark. Today for math, I'm going to work with you on subtraction with regrouping using 3 digits, as well as subtraction with regrouping using zeros. Here we go. All right, the first problem, I'm going to do the first 2 problems with you, and I want you to try this third one here on your own. Then I'm going to do this problem with you. All right, so here we go. 625 minus 174. Now, we have done subtraction with regrouping in class, but we've only used 2 digits, okay? This time we're using 3 digits. It's not that much different, but it is another added step. All right, so here we go. I first look at my ones column. My ones column is where I always start, no matter what. I don't ever start with the tens column. I don't ever start with the hundreds column. I always start with the ones column. So I check and see if I can do this. Remember, we're doing all subtraction today. There's no adding going on right now. So I think, can I subtract these numbers? And if the answer is yes, you don't have to regroup. If the answer is, I can't do it, then you do have to regroup. So 5 minus 4 is 1. I don't need to do regrouping for that. So I write my answer down. I then move on to the middle column here, which is the tens place. 2 take away 7. I cannot take 7, this bigger number, away from 2, which is a smaller number. I can't do it. Another strategy that I've taught to the kids in my class is, if you don't know if you can do this, hold up your fingers for the top number. Ask yourself, can I take away the bottom number from my fingers? Well, let's try it. 2 minus 7. Take away 1, take away 2. I don't have any more numbers to take away, so I cannot do that. I've got to borrow or regroup from the next column, which is actually the hundreds place. So I'm going to look at this 2 minus 7. I'm going to go over to the hundreds column, and I'm going to borrow a number from the 6. The 6 is actually meaning 600. So I'm actually borrowing 100. Okay, so I'm going to write a 5 here because I took 100 away from the 600. And I'm going to give that 100 right here to the 2. So that becomes a 12. And it's not really a 12, it's actually 12 tens, which is 120. We don't need to write the 0 here though. So now I can finish my problem. 12 minus 7 is 5. And 5 minus 1 is 4. We've done our first problem. All right, let's go ahead and look at the second problem. I have 8 minus 9. Remember, I always start in my ones place column. So 8 minus 9, I can't do it. 8 minus 9, well, I can take away 8, but I don't have another finger to take away. So I cannot do it. So I've got to go and regroup and borrow from the tens. Can I do that? Let's check. 8 minus 7. Can I do 8 minus 7? Yes, I can. So yes, I can borrow from the tens column. So I'm going to cross out my 8. That becomes a 7. And then if I deliver my 1, some of you like to write a 1 right here beside the number. That's fine if you want to do that. I, however, usually cross that out and write it up here. So a 1 with my 8 that I already have. So now it says 18 minus 9. Well, if I'm up on my doubles facts, I know that 9 plus 9 is 18. So 18 minus 9 must be 9. Okay, one thing that I taught the kids in my class is whatever your answer is, plus the number that's directly over it, If you add those two numbers together, it should equal the number that's on the very top. So that's another way of looking at subtraction. All right, so then I have 7 minus 7. I can do that. 7 minus 7 is 0. And then all I have left is my numbers in the hundreds place. 2 minus 1 is 1. My answer is 109. All right, I would like you to pause the video, and I would like you to get a scrap piece of paper, and I would like you to try 843 minus 253. Again, make sure you are looking in the ones column first, and then you go to the tens, and then you go to the hundreds. Try this problem out and show your parents. When you're finished and you have the right answer, you can resume the video. I'll see you in a bit. All right, good job, guys. You got that answer. 843 minus 253 is 590. If that was your answer, you got that correct. Good job. All right, I'd like to look at this one with you because this problem is a little trickier, and you'll see why in just a minute. 3 minus 7, I cannot do 3 minus 7. Here's my strategy of holding up my fingers. 3, I can't take 7 away from 3 fingers. So I'm going to move to the tens column. Now here's where it's a little tricky. 6 minus 8. Can I do 6 minus 8? I don't think so. So guess what? I have to move yet again to another column. I have to go all the way to the hundreds column to help me get a number back to my ones place. So I'm going to borrow from the 9. I'm going to cross out the 9, and that becomes 8. Then I'm going to give my 1 that I borrowed to the 6, and that becomes 16. Well, I've done that regrouping, but guess what? I still have to get a number to the ones column. So I'm going to cross out the 16 that I just made, and now I'm going to borrow from that one. It's going to become a 15. 16 take away 1, that's 15. Now, the one number that I borrowed, I'm going to come and deliver it to my ones column. So 3 turns into a 13. If you don't like to write it that way, you can cross out the 3 and you can write 13 right above it. It's still the same thing. So 13 minus 7 is 6. 15 minus 8 is 7. And 8 minus 7 is 1. So that was a little bit trickier. Now we're going to go to the next slide, and I'm going to work with you guys on subtracting across 0. So I'm going to do these first 2 problems with you. Well, how about this? I'm going to do the first problem with you, and I'm going to do the last problem with you. And I want you guys to practice the one that's in the middle when you get done with the video. Have your scrap piece of paper ready. See if you can do it. I know you can. All right, 701 minus 372. This is a little different because there's a 0 here in the tens place. And we haven't really seen that before, especially with these 3-digit numbers. So the first thing I ask myself, can I do the subtraction in the ones place? 1 take away 2. 1 take away 2? I can't do it. I told you before that you come right to the number in the tens column, but guess what? It's a 0. I cannot take a number away from a 0 because we don't use negative numbers right now. So I have to go, because there's a 0 in the middle, I've got to go all the way to the hundreds column. So I'm going to borrow from my 7, cross that out. This is going to become a 6. I deliver the 1 that I borrowed to my 0, and that makes it a 10. But remember, we have to get it all the way back to the ones column. So I'm going to cross out 10, and that's going to become a 9. And then I can deliver my 1 to the ones column. Again, if you don't like writing it like that, you can cross that out and make that 11. It's the same thing. So 11 minus 2, that is 9. Okay, 9 minus 7, that's a 2. And 6 minus 3 is 3. So my answer is 329. All right, let's go ahead and look at this third problem here. And then when I'm done with that, I'd like you to work on this one. Oh boy, look at this one. We've got 2 zeros in our problem at the top. 0 take away 5, I can't do it. I don't even have any fingers up. 0 minus 5, I can't do it. So I go to my next column, the tens column. 0 minus 1, I can't do that either. Guess what? I'm going to the hundreds column. So I am going to cross out my 8. 8 becomes 7. I deliver the 1 to the tens column, but I still have to get a number to the ones column so I can do that subtraction problem. So I'm going to cross out my 10, and that becomes a 9. And then I can deliver my 1 to the 0. Okay, and that becomes 10. Now I can do my problem. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 1 is 8. And 7 minus 2 is 5. So my answer is 585. Did you see how that worked? Now I want you to get your scrap piece of paper ready, and I would like you to write down on your scrap piece of paper 901 minus 874. Make sure that your 4 is under the 1. Make sure your 0 and your 7 are in a line, and make sure your 9 and your 8 are in a straight line. Okay, pause the video now and try this problem on your own. I'll let you know what the correct answer is as soon as you finish. You can do it. All right, so hopefully you got this correct answer. 901 minus 874. You're going to borrow from the hundreds column. So this should be an 8. I deliver my 1 to make it a 10. Cross out my 10. That becomes 9. And I deliver my 1 to make that 11. Okay, 11 minus 4 is 7. 9 minus 7 is 2. 8 minus 8 is 0. Now, because there's no numbers in the thousands place, I don't really have to put a 0, but if you are more comfortable doing that, you can put a 0. All right, so 27 should have been your answer. You guys all did such a great job today, and I am so proud of you. I've got a Google form for you to work on. You can look at this video again if you want to. You can get help from your parents if you want to, but make sure that you're not using a calculator. We want you to try 3-digit regrouping. All right, so I can't wait to see your answers. So do a great job. I know you can do it, and I want you to have a great day. All right, bye, you guys.